Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Pixar's Inside Out, featuring the voices of Amy Poehler, Phyllis Smith, Bill Hader, Louis Black, and Mindy Kaling, and directed by Pete Docter. Now, before I get into this review, I have a couple things I want to bring up. One of them is I did see this in theaters. I think it was 3D if I'm not mistaken, but can't remember. And the other thing is, the reason I'm doing this Pete Docter series, starting with Up, and even though I already did Monsters Inc., is leading up to Soul because I met the guy in person. And for those of you that haven't seen the Monsters Inc. show, I have his autograph and him animating Joy. And I will show it in a moment, but yeah, I remember him being really a nice guy. Let me just turn on the light here. It's so bright. And look closely. The animated Joy thing right here. I think that's from him. Yeah. Yeah, that's from Pete Docter. And whoops. Let me get you a little bit closer. And that's him as well as the producer of the movie, Jonas Rivera. And whoops. And I remember really liking it, but at the same time, it made me cry. So, will it still do that? Let's get into it and we'll find out. From the beginning of when Riley was born, we meet Joy, voiced by Amy Poehler, who's in charge of keeping the memories joyful, and we meet Sadness, voiced by Phyllis Smith, Fear, voiced by Bill Hader, Disgust, voiced by Mindy Kaling, and Anger, voiced by Louis Black, and Riley is an autistic child, from what I heard at a film festival, and she's grown up to be 11 years old, and they work in her brain as feelings, and they move to San Francisco in a new house. And so far she's depressed because Sadness keeps touching the memories that are made like a glass ball. And I like the idea that we're in the mind of an autistic girl, and we see how that all works, and the animation is tremendous. And I do like the acting here, despite I'm not a huge fan of Amy Poehler and Mindy Kaling. But they've turned in some great work here, in my opinion. The first day of school begins, and Riley gets called by the teacher and thinks of a memory, and Sadness makes it sad, and she cries in front of class. And Joy tries to fix it, and both she and Sadness get sucked into the long-term memory section out of the headquarters, and they find a way to back to headquarters as anger, disgust, and fear take over the mind of Riley. And there's 5 islands of her personality, maybe 6, I can't remember. And Goofball Island is taken down as her favorite things to do, and I enjoy the story as it works very well, in my opinion. Friendship Island gets taken down thanks to Anger's decision, and Joy finds finds an imaginary friend named Bing Bong, who looks like a pink elephant that tastes like cotton candy, and he thinks of a train and thought, and which is an imagination land. Meanwhile, Riley is at school feeling pretty depressed as Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong miss the train and get to Imagination Land, and it looks beautiful, and the animation makes it look super beautiful. Riley hates it at hockey tryouts, and Hockey Island gets taken down, and Bing Bong's rocket wagon gets taken down to the other stuff, which is in their memories from Imagination Land. And they find a train back to headquarters. Anger thinks about getting Riley to run away from her parents back to Minnesota, which is where she's from, and they sleep on the decision, and the train to headquarters stops, and Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong try to wake her up, and almost works as they get in a prison of Riley's biggest fears, and Bing Bong is trapped with a clown guarding him, and they get Bing Bong out, and awakens the clown to wake Riley up, and jump back on the train again. Anger's idea gets Riley to run away from home, which is the act when it gets really depressing, and I'm enjoying so far of this movie. Honesty Island is taken down with the train, and Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong run to Family Island as it's about to collapse, and Joy leaves Sadness to go back to headquarters in a sucky thing, that they got down to earlier in the film and spits her out and takes Bing Bong with her as she witnesses a sad memory and a happy memory of when Riley stuck her tongue out while drawing with crayons, and a bunch of other happy memories. And we find out you can make some sad memories into happy memories. And the Minnesota hockey team came to her help because of sadness, which is a good message to any autistic kid as well as any other kid. Joy and Bing Bong get on the rocket wagon to fly back to land as Bing Bong doesn't make it and suddenly disappears, which was pretty sad. As Family Island is taken down, Joy looks for sadness as she finds her in a cloud crying, and Riley doesn't feel pain anymore as she gets on a bus, and thanks to Riley's crush of 1,000 of them, I'll say. And again, Riley doesn't feel pain anymore as she gets on the bus and they make it back before Riley is gone forever. As Disgust fires up anger on purpose to put fire on a glass, and Sadness fixes everything by making her cry, which is really depressing. And I do think this is a great movie, but not as good as Up. Riley has some sad and joyful memories, and the new setup of the Memory Islands is a great choice. And Riley plays some hockey and creates some new good memories, and the climax is beautiful just like the movie is. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 9.0 out of 10. This is a beautiful movie, but not quite as good as Up, but it's still very beautiful. I did like the actors and their voice roles, and the animation is great to look at, and it's a good movie for ages 3 to 95-year-olds. Just like any other Pixar film, because they have genius ideas, Pete Docter is a great director to tell the story and to the audience, as it can be depressing at times as well as joyful. What a great film for autistic kids and regular kids. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Soul, the one I'm most excited about. And until next time, time to cry.